For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. This week, Oprah would rub a lot of people the wrong way during her conversation on her Apple TV Plus series, The Oprah Conversation. In the episode, Oprah interviewed former NFL linebacker and current NFL analyst, Emmanuel Acho. In the conversation, a white guest said that many white people grow up without white privilege or power. Oprah immediately corrected the guest by saying,
There are white people who are not as powerful as the system of white people, the caste system that's been put in place, but they still, no matter where they are on the rung or the ladder of success, they still have their whiteness.
Oprah continued, whites have a leg up, you still have your whiteness. That's what the term white privilege is. It means that whiteness still gives you an advantage, no matter what. It is the fundamental issue. Senator Ted Cruz and several other conservative analysts would take issue with her comments and labeled her a racist. We all know that Oprah has been criticized before and accused of tearing down the image of black men due to her involvement with the Michael Jackson and Russell Simmons documentaries. Oprah pulled out of the latter due to the conflicting reports, but that didn't stop the Oprah bashing. Many said Oprah hates black men. Now with her recent defense, can we consider Oprah an ally to the black community? Calling in, I have the one and the only Miss Rita. How are you doing today?
Hey, what's up, Symphony? How are you?
Nothing much. Missing y'all in the studio.
I'll be back soon, soon enough.
Looking forward to it. So let's dive right in with this Oprah situation. What are your thoughts? Do you think that we can still consider her an ally?
Absolutely, and I am glad that she unabashedly said that you have a leg up when you're dealing with whiteness, because that way there's no confusion where she stands on race. She's been accused many times of straddling the fence and not being black enough and not taking enough stances for black people. But hearing her say that, I'm like, okay, this is awesome. This is one of those Beyonce statements, like, I am where I am now, and I'm going to be super duper pro-black. But I think she made another big statement by putting Breonna Taylor for the first time in 20 years on the Oprah magazine, and she just talked about how she feels like if we're silent, we're complicit in racism. So I think that was a big step as well, and I'm glad to see her taking this route.
Got it. So even though, because that's a different from, what our community thinks. So even though there has been conflicting statements, does that not make you think that she's kind of using this because it's a movement, if you will?
I'm going to say no, because she doesn't have to. She's already a billionaire. Oprah doesn't have to try to capitalize off racism to build her platform, because it's already built. She has her own network, which is another thing that I think deserves a little more attention. This network is wonderful for black representation. There are majority black shows on there, from Queen Sugar to Love Is to Black Love. That's representation that we may not have otherwise. She's giving actors and producers and directors a leg up by having her own network. That's ownership. That's what my co-host Capone talks about all the time. Like, Oprah is doing it. So I don't think she's doing this to capitalize and make money, because she already has it.
That makes sense. So why do you think so many people within our community dislike Oprah?
Well, I hear a multitude of things. I read a multitude of stories. Now, let me just say, I'm partial to Oprah because, number one, she's from Mississippi. I'm from Mississippi. Her birthday is January 29th. My birthday is January 29th. She came up in the media. I came up in media. So I have been following Oprah's story for a long time. But what I think is happening is people are making They're defining folks by headlines and not looking at what they've done for a lifetime. Oprah has been doing this since '86. That's when she started her show. But before that, she was a news anchor, and she came from poverty in Mississippi. She had a tragic abortion at a young age. She was raped and molested. So she is one of those rags to riches type stories. But now with social media, it's just headlines. So if you hear enough, Oprah don't like black men, she always coming for black men, she always doing that. If you hear that narrative all the time, then it's hard to reverse that and look at what she's actually doing philanthropy wise. Folks are like, well, she can build a school in Africa, but she's not contributing in America. And that is a lie. She has given money in Chicago. She's given money in Florida. She's given money in Mississippi. She's given $12 million or something dollars to the Morehouse College, which is all black men. She's given money to the African American Museum. And I think people just forget about her story. She did experience poverty in Mississippi. She had a child at a young age, and there was a tragedy there. The child did not live. She was molested, and she was shuffled around from family to family. So it's a rags to riches type story, but you cannot deny the things that she's done. Like, people just adopt other people's opinion. If you have somebody like Snoop Dogg saying something bad about her, instead of people going to do the research, they just adopt some headline, but I'm not saying she's beyond critique, because I honestly would have appreciated a stronger rebuke for Harvey Weinstein, who was a friend of hers. He helped her get in The Butler, and she got national acclaim for that. But with that, I think it's a situation like with Bill Cosby. A person presents themselves as one way, and it's hard for you to believe that they could be another way. But Oprah is not the penis whisperer. You understand what I'm saying? How was she supposed to know what Harvey was doing with his thing? So I would have appreciated a stronger rebuke where he is concerned, because that's what people are like, well, you going for Russell, you coming for Russell and Michael Jackson, but not Harvey. So I get it. She deserves critique. She's not beyond critique, but we cannot sit here and act like Oprah is a traitor. It's not fair.
Absolutely. You make a great point there. So we've seen her get backlash from the black community, but right now, let's dive into these statements. So she's getting a lot of backlash from conservatives. Do you think she's getting that because they kind of feel like they own her?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is just a reminder that even though Oprah is a billionaire and she's filthy wealthy, she's still black. She is still black. I experienced the same thing in Mississippi. One time I thought I was a celebrity. I got pulled over, and the police officer was like, yeah, I seen you on this and on that. Next thing you know, I'm in jail for 6 hours. So it don't matter if you're famous. It don't matter if you got money. It was a white police officer. In the eyes of some white people, you are still black. So, and all she did was call out white privilege. And you have some white folks who want to deny it exists, and that's on them. Oprah said the right thing. She didn't say anything wrong. She said whiteness gives you a leg up, and that's true. So to hell with Ted Cruz and all of them, he been on some racist stuff, so.
Absolutely. Do you think she will recover from this?
Hell yeah. Yeah. She is a billionaire. She is a billionaire. And Oprah is very, she knows how to handle these things. She's very poised, in all of her interviews. She has a way that she approaches things. And, she's a professional. Like, this is a 30-plus year, damn near 50-year career of doing this. So, yes, she's going to bounce back. But, I know some white people feel like, well, we the ones who watched your show. And that's not true. I mean, I watched it too, hell. I couldn't wait to see her interview Michael Jordan and Denzel Washington. I was a fan. We all been rooting for Oprah. But it's just a reminder to her that you are black. No matter how beloved you are, you still black.
And how important do you think it was, to be able to set it up the way that she did? So not only did she have, a black counterpart, but she also had, white everyday Americans in that setting. How important do you think that was?
I think it's extremely important, and I think nobody can deny the importance of having universal appeal. That's what I strive for as a comedian. You look at somebody like Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, they have universal appeal. And I don't understand why that's a ding on her. Like, oh, you built your wealth on the white folk. Well, they did it to us. They built their wealth off us. Oprah did it to them.
Off us.
Reparations, big. Reparations. And now she's giving back to so many black actors and producers and directors and people in need. So I like the way she's going about these things. I would like to have that universal appeal too, but without selling out. And to this point, I don't think Oprah has sold out. Has she done some questionable things? There's some evidence out there about how she's handled, different women, like on her shows and everything. She needs to be held accountable for that. Absolutely. She has apologized for things on multiple occasions, but Oprah is not a traitor. She is for us. Absolutely.
Well, Rita, I definitely appreciate that. Thank you so much for calling in. You heard from Rita, but now we want to hear from you. Let us know down in the comments below. Can we consider Oprah an ally to the black community? Once again, I'm Symphony Thompson, and this is the Comedy Hype News Show.